So do you have any questions regarding mirroring? If you have any questions regarding mirroring, I'll talk with you. Otherwise, I'll move to another topic.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Let me share this. This is not required. Overview of architecture. Mirroring architecture. Save it. Oh, everything is saving on my computer. Okay. Okay, so let me open my always. So you know guys, what is always on? Always on is mainly advanced concept of mirroring. So from the data has been transferring from one replica to another replica by using endpoints. Mirroring also by using endpoints. Here also by using endpoints. Okay, you can see my screen. Let me go here. Can you able to see always on here? I close all. I'll keep only one. Can you able to see always on here? We want to enable this feature in database. That's it. Rest all will be the Windows failover cluster will be taken care by. Let me draw a diagram here. I hope you know the architecture of always on. Let me show it to you. This is called as Windows Server Failover Cluster. The shortcut name is WFCS, Windows Failover Cluster Service. Okay, if you want it, I'll write it. It's a Windows Failover Cluster. This one built by Windows team, not we. If they build the Windows cluster and if they give it to us, then only we can install two SQL servers. One SQL server is this one, and another SQL server is this one. Okay, this is SQL server and this is SQL server. This is primary replica. We'll call it as a primary replica. Okay, this is called as primary replica. I'm going to just name it here. Primary replica. This one is. Tell me, guys.
Secondary replica.
Yeah, secondary replica. Good, you are hearing. Secondary replica. Okay. So, what we have done so far is we selected two operating modes. One is synchronous and asynchronous. So here also same, sync and other one is async. Two operating modes are there here. So you know the difference between sync and async. Synchronous means first the transaction will get commit in secondary replica and it will give the acknowledgement to primary replica. Then only the transactions will get commit in primary replica. There is a synchronization. Asynchronization means immediately the transaction first it will commit in primary replica, and then it will move, it will transfer to the mirrored server. I don't care whether mirrored server is available or not, but application will be keep running on the primary instance. Here, automatic failure is not there in asynchronous. Only manual failure is there in asynchronous. Okay. Now, you should ask me one question. So here, there is one listener IP address. This text is not clear. Okay, no problem. I'll keep it like this. Okay, I'll write it again, all the texts. This is primary replica, makes it maximum 10 seconds. Primary, this one is secondary. Okay, so now what happens is, okay, here two, one is asynchronous and asynchronous. Sync, normally we'll call it as sync mode. Other one is async. You can pronounce it right, sync and async. Okay. Now, there is a listener IP address. Here, I'll draw one name that is called as listener IP address. IP address. Okay. So, this listener IP address, there is one application. Application name is maybe some banking application or textiles application, finance application, any one application is there. One server is there. So now directly the connection pool will not, you cannot establish, there is a connection string you will not establish directly to, the primary server here. You will not establish like this. What you will do is, what developers will do is, they will make a connection string to your listener IP address. Okay. This listener IP address know which server is up. Either this server is up or either this server is up. It will know, this is an IP address know which server is up. Which server means SQL server. Which server is up. Guys, is it making sense? Your application connection string, that is called as connection pool or connection string, whatever you like. Data source, normally we'll call it as data source. Application connection string will be established to your listener IP address. This listener IP address know which server is active. Okay, from there only it will go and bring the data. From there only it will go and insert the data. Guys, is it making sense? If not, please ask me, no problem. Again, I'll repeat it. So, who will establish this connection? You are not going to establish this connection. Your duty is only to give listener IP true address to your developers. Developers will establish connection string, whether it is a Java application, whether .NET application, whether Python, JSON, HTML, whatever the application is, they will enable connection string based on their coding level and application level. We don't need to take care of it. Our work is back-end work. This is application is called as front-end work. Our work is called as back-end work. Back-end means DBA. DBA work is called as back-end work. Did you understand? This is called as front-end. Guys, is it making sense? So here synchronous and asynchronous. One another advantage in always on is, in mirroring, can you able to read mirror database?
No.
we can read secondary replica data. We can read. I'm just giving prerequisite same there, whatever it is here also same. Primary server, secondary server, everything is same. But advantage here is we can able to read secondary replica database data. Next, you can configure load balancing, LB. LB means load balancing. Load balancing means, do you know what is load balancing? If both are working, in outside market, we'll be having two applications. What are those two applications? Do you know? This application is for reporting purpose. Just imagine it is reporting purpose. So reporting means it's only select query. You can give select queries to your primary server. You can give remaining application to your secondary server. Like this, distributing your application to different servers. But you need to enable synchronous. Then only load balancing will work. Always on is a part of high availability. Always on is a part of disaster recovery. Always on is a part of load balancing. Three advantages. That is also advantage. Making sense, guys? It is a DR. Always on is a
Reporting,
HA.
reporting should be pointed to the secondary then, right?
What is that?
Reporting should be connected to the secondary. I
Yeah,
mean, your
that's
diagram.
on an average here. Like you absolutely you're right. Just imagine normally. Oh, I'll say it. So secondary you can connect it to here. Even if you want it, you can connect it to primary. What is the problem? So it's up to you. But only naming. Naming is you need to know that's it. Which is the primary? There only you need to configure always on. You can, yes, absolutely you're right. You can configure to secondary. It's all up to you. It's all up to you and your team. Either you connect it to primary, either you can connect it to secondary also. Just imagine due to some network issue, it's fail over to this server. It's fail over to this server. SQL services all fail over to this server. Now what happens? Now tell me what happens. Now your application will be connected to primary. This application will be connected to secondary. It's all depends. There is no mandatory here. There is no mandatory. There is no default. Everything is based on
I
our
mean,
customization.
primary will be, application will be always connecting to the primary, right? That's mandatory.
That's mandatory. That's all up to us. But maybe tomorrow some issue happened with the primary. Now all the services are replicated to secondary. Okay, this is collapsed. This is just imagine collapse. Now both the applications will connect it to secondary. It's all depends on scenario. There is no mandatory. There is no default. Making sense? It's all
But that time secondary will be primary, right? Its role will be primary.
okay. To answer to your question, better I can change this. Why to make this confuse? Okay. Now what I'm trying to say is it's all up to us. It's all up to us. There is no mandatory, there is no default. It's all up to you and your team. Okay, now clear? Reporting is secondary, application is primary. Now again here RTO is there, RPO is there. It's all based on you and your clients and your manager. Sometimes they'll ask you, they don't ask you to connect secondary server. Sometimes they may ask you, both servers need to be connected to your primary, but
Question.
secondary is only for standby. Yes, please.
So, I mean, what I understood is primary and secondary, these, the role of these nodes are interchangeable, right?
Absolutely right.
So it means if in the case of disaster, the standby, this, I mean, the secondary will become primary if
Yes,
primary goes down, right?
yes, absolutely. That is why automatic failure.
Yes. So it means the it will be new primary.
Yes, new primary.
So my application would be connecting to the new primary.
Normally, that is why listener IP is coming here. You don't know which service is up, which server is up, whether a primary replica or secondary replica. So your application always connected to listener. That means listener always will be up. This listener IP will get to know which server is up and running.
Yeah, so in that case, at that moment, my application would be connecting to the primary, right?
Yes. That means if
Uh,
your primary server is up, it will connect to primary. If your secondary server is up, it will connect to your secondary.
mhm.
We are not changing any we are not changing any connection strings here. But only what we are doing in application is listener IP address details we will provide to them.
Mhm.
Okay.
How many standby I mean, secondary we have can have?
That's up multiple 32 standbys you can have. That is interview question. That is again based on the versions. In 2012 only they given 4 synchronous replicas, 4 asynchronous replicas in 2014. Not exactly, it's around. But in
Mhm.
2016 they given 32. In that 4 synchronous replicas, remaining 24 28 asynchronous replica. In 27, primary replica is a on-premises. Secondary replica can be Azure replica also. That is also one beautiful feature is there. Secondary replica is a Azure replica, which is,
Um, and
yeah,
I think I asked this question.
long ago. I think
Yeah.
2 3 weeks
So
ago. I
can
remember.
I have like two primary nodes?
Yes, one primary node in on-premises, another primary node in Azure. You can keep it. That is what people are doing in outside market nowadays. Because Azure is 100% availability they're giving, right? Not 100%, at least somewhat they're giving to us. So now just imagine. So no, sorry. So this is the cloud architecture. Now this is primary replica. PR. PR means primary replica. You can enable always on. You can always enable always on. So this is here one will be listener IP address. Here listen. This is the listener IP address. Listener IP address. Now from here, what you are gonna do is one is in another on-premises, another region. There is one replica. Another one is in either AWS cloud or Azure cloud or Oracle cloud or Alibaba cloud, whatever GCP cloud, wherever you want, you can keep it. This is you whether again here you want to enable sync, here you want to enable async. It's all up to you and your team. Okay, in latest versions 32 replicas you can configure. Even in log shipping also, we don't have many servers. That is why I showed you one is primary, other one is standby. Even in mirroring also, one is primary, other one is secondary. But you can configure until 32 servers. If it is a banking project, they don't want to lose single percent of data also. They'll be having lot of servers. So for them, for banking, always on is the best practice. Always on is a good one.
So Giri,
Mhm.
you mean in a failover cluster in AG,
Yes.
in Amazon, so we can have multiple primary database node.
No, only one. One will be primary. Secondary will be unlimited. Only one is primary.
So in that case, we cannot, I mean, horizontal scale, right?
Horizontally, it is there, but that is different. Horizontal and vertical is that is little different. That if we can discuss in cluster is more clear. Cluster we can discuss. Okay, in always on, yes, absolutely. I appreciate you. You got with the new option that is called as vertical and horizontal. That is one of the feature is available in SQL. That most advantage in cluster, but not in always on. Always on is a database concept, but cluster is a server level concept.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we will get to know very clearly.
Yeah, I mean, that was confusing me because at that time we discussed like how I will scale, and you said we will discuss this in while doing this.
Yeah, while doing, if I explain it, it will be pretty easy for you so that you can understand very
But
clear.
it's still not clear to me, like how will I will scale my application in the
You are
future.
little fast, that is why it is not up to you. You are little fast, you are too fast, too faster than metro train. That is why you want always on in the first class itself. What can I do? That is why still it is not understandable to you. When the topic is coming, If you ask that question, then it will be advanced and it will be good for you. But you don't want to listen LKG, UKG, first class. You want to directly go to the 10th class. Whenever
It's
that
okay.
particular topic is coming, if I explain it, it will be very easy for you. If it is not explaining, then nothing will be in your mind. Nothing will be in your, because theoretical is not good always. But sometimes it is good. I'm not saying 100%. Sometimes it is good. But to answer level, it is good. I agree. But to make it as very clear, scratch to scratch, only if we discuss on that particular moment, then we'll get a very clear picture. If you have to perform any planned activity, then automatic failure, sorry, manual failure you will do. When you don't have any planned activity like maintenance plan or something, then automatic failure will come into the picture. Now you understand what is automatic, what is manual. The same way here, vertically, horizontally failover is based on the priority. Based on the priority, you will give which is high priority for me. In the cluster, I'll show you clearly. There is a warner, node warner. If you give node warner, then definitely it will go particular server only. Now just imagine you have multiple, what is it called? Here you have multiple servers, secondary replicas. Okay, this is secondary replica one, secondary replica one. This is secondary replica two. Sorry. This is secondary replica 2. This is cloud replica, that means secondary underscore replica 3. This is secondary replica 4. Now horizontal and vertical is like, horizontal means you are specifying which is high priority. You are specifying which is high priority. Now primary is only one. Sorry. Primary is only one. Primary cannot be multiple. Secondary can be multiple. Primary is only one. Now you are specifying which one is high priority. Whether this one is high priority means one. This one is one. You are specifying, you are defining. Whenever disaster happened to your primary, you are defining priority for which node it is automatic failover. That is called as warner. Then only it will fail over to that particular warner. Horizontally you are specifying. If you are not specifying this, whichever is available to that, manually it is automatically, it will fail over to that server, whichever is healthy.
I
Still,
agree. You can carry on with the topic we were discussing. I
yeah,
think
that's right. We'll discuss in the
uh,
cluster wise. We'll get to know very
we'll
clear
take it
picture.
offline. I mean, I was specifically was talking about like horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling. So we can take it offline.
That
Okay.
is mainly scaling means it is infrastructure settings, not a database settings. It's infrastructure settings. So even you can do R&D. We are scaling up new infrastructure servers in AWS and Azure both in my real-time project. Scaling means you are just increasing the infrastructure setting ups, the configurations like RAM, CPUs. That is also coming to the picture. But here is the word only talks as whether priority replication or manual failover or specifying the specific node. Okay, better we'll discuss in the cluster only. We'll skip this question now because others will misunderstand. Others will like, these guys are
Okay,
talking a lot
just
of
carry on. Yeah,
these
carry on.
guys are talking a lot of mini words, but we don't know what are those words. We'll discuss in the cluster. Okay, so you understand, right? So like this, 32 secondary nodes you can configure in latest version. 32 replicas, secondary replicas. In that, if you look at the whiteboard of Microsoft, there's a white dashboard. Sorry, not white dashboard. It is a white paper. Normally, official word is called as white paper. So if you look at the white papers of Microsoft, they'll give you very clear picture. So only for secondary replicas can be sync operating mode, and remaining 28 secondary underscore armies secondary replicas can be async. Okay, This is not exact correct figure. So even I want to see, because they're changing their behavior very frequently. Microsoft is changing very frequently. And another thing is, for one application, nobody will be having 32 servers. 99% no, but 1% maybe, because I don't know how much importance their application is. Do you think one application can be 32 servers? Maybe very worst case it will be, right? Very rarely. What do you think? Very rarely. So do you think one application will be having 32 servers, 32 database servers? Only one application. So here, if you want to work on load balancing, then absolutely yes, they will be having number of. So what they are going to do is, so they will be having number of applications now. This is one application. This is another application. Okay, this is another application. Sorry. This is another application. Okay, this is another application. Application means, right? Do you want me to tell what is application? It is front-end applications. So this is one application that is called as sales application. Sales application. This is market application, whatever it is, either retail or market application, market app. This one is called as banking application, whatever it is. This is retail application, retail. Okay, any one application, whether it is. Now one application can be connected to this server. One application can be connected to this server. One applications can connect it to this server. Another application can connect it to this server. This is called as load balancing. And also your primary replication, just a minute.
Hey, hey, Giri, we lost the voice.
Oh, is it? Okay, again I'll repeat it. Don't worry, again I'll repeat it. Because
So
I
you
connected.
said multiple applications can connect
Yeah, that is
to
how you need to
different.
build in always on. Yes, absolutely. So only
No,
multiple.
all these application can do read and write.
Which one? That you need to enable that options. When you're configuring it, you need to enable that options. Yes, if you want to only read, yes, there is an option called as only provide read. If the sales they don't want to insert in DDL, they want to only read. Yes, while configuring always on, there is an option for you whether you want to perform read and write or only read. Understand?
How it maintain?
Yeah. Come on. Now you are in good question. Come on. That is what I want. That question. Come on. Yeah, I understand your question. Ask me. Others
Yes,
need
so
to understand.
it maintain the consistency of the data.
Yes, that is why Microsoft is too intelligent. They implemented synchronous and asynchronous. So now if you do write command in this
We
server,
lost you again. Hello.
yes sir, I connected to Geo, dongle Geo, because it is network is problem in India, not only here in India, it is a network problem. So please bear with
It's
me.
okay. Can you come again?
Yeah, so that is why Microsoft implemented synchronous and asynchronous. So if you are performing write operation in this server, it will not commit immediately in this server. Are you getting the point? So first it will go and commit in primary server, and then primary will give acknowledgement back to the server. So that is why data consistency is no loss here if you go with synchronous. Is it making sense, Khan? My voice is clear?
Yeah.
So now that is why synchronous mode is coming. So now you understand very clearly why synchronous and asynchronous, right?
Yeah.
Clear, or again you want me to repeat? Again I repeat, not a problem for me.
Yeah. Repeat it again, please.
So now if you perform read, this application will go and read the data from this server, that's it. But if you enable read and write, on the
Please come
secondary
again,
server.
Giri. We lost you.
Then better, this is important topic. Better we'll connect once if the Wi-Fi is available. Otherwise, we will wait and see.
Giri, can you do one thing?
Yeah, what is it?
Just dial into direct number, no, the Zoom number, because I do the same thing. Dial into
What is it?
Zoom number, so there won't be any dependency.
So Zoom number
Yeah,
means what does it mean?
uh,
Like,
through the mobile phone, right?
yeah, I have the
Through the
mobile phone.
mobile. Yeah, okay. Go and check for India. What is the number? Let me have a look. Okay, so that
Yeah,
you can directly dial in.
search in online. Give me that. I'll see. So you mean to say Google
Yeah.
Zoom?
I
What should
will
I do
just.
with that? I don't have idea about it. Sorry, I don't have idea
I
now.
did.
Yeah. Okay. Now I stopped.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I started it. Now my voice is repeatable to me. No problem. I can manage it. Not a big issue. Otherwise, can you mute yourself, Raja, and see? Is the cause or not?
Can't listen anything here.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not speaking anything. Now I think it is. You can hear me.
Yeah.
My option. Normally, I will go with my option and see. Okay. So, guys, did you understand this one? This is the architecture. Now let me go back to. Now let me go back to PDF file. This is the PDF file which I
Hey,
gave.
Giri. Giri.
Yes, yes, Khan.
So can you come back to that screen again?
Yes. If you understand synchronous and asynchronous, you will understand very clearly. If you're not
No,
understanding
no.
synchronous and asynchronous, this will be in
I
doubt.
think we totally missed what. Yes. So we were here, right, when we started this connection and disconnection thing. So can
Yes.
you start from here?
Yes. So normally, first thing is this is one primary. This is one primary replica. 1 minute. I'll go and keep another phone here. Okay, let it be. This one is primary replica. These is the secondary replica one, secondary replica two, secondary replica three, secondary replica four. Okay. Okay. Again, I'll remove all those things. Let me come back freshly. Okay. Yeah. Here we are. Right here we are. Right. So now, so sales application can only perform read command on the secondary server one, secondary replica one, only read. Okay. If you go with synchronous operating mode, you can perform either read or write also on the secondary. Write also on the secondary. Now, secondary replica, if you enable as a synchronous, first what will happen? What will happen? First, the transaction will go and commit on the primary replica, and then only it will give the acknowledge back to the secondary replica to maintain the data consistency, to maintain the 0% data loss. You can enable whether read you want, whether read or write you want, whether you want to perform any backups. You can enable that in always on. Primary, you can do application level settings and application level transaction. Secondary, you can perform backups also, full backup, log backup, differential backup, everything you can perform on secondary. Making sense?
Yeah. What about the banking?
Banking and all, they can go with any one kind of option. Synchronous option, they can go. That's all up to them. But banking means data consistency should be, definitely they should go with synchronous, but performance will definitely is a bottleneck for them. If there is no network slow. If network bandwidth is high, then definitely 100% data transference will be very good and healthy also. That's
Uh,
all how the infrastructure is setting up.
so, Giri, so in this diagram, each node here, whether it's primary or secondary, does each have its own storage?
In always on, it's only one storage, in their only local storage. But in clustering, it is a iSCSI storage. It's a shared storage, not a local one. But in always on, you can keep here one storage and in this server one storage. That is called as local storage only. In always on, there is no network storage. Same thing, it will work what we have done it in previous log shipping and mirroring. Here also same thing, local only, local disks only. But in
So,
cluster you require a shared disk.
okay, so I mean, we are discussing here this always on. It's part of one cluster, right?
That is Windows cluster, not a SQL cluster.
Yeah, it's a window cluster, but still a cluster, right?
It's a cluster, yeah.
It's sitting inside a cluster.
Absolutely.
So this cluster, you mean having only one storage?
Yes, in always on, only local storage, not a shared storage. It's a local. For example, this server has C drive, E drive, F drive, right? It will only be stored in that local disks only. Data will be stored in this only local.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's local or remote, but still it's a different, each node
Storage.
have different storage, right?
Absolutely, correct. You're right.
Yeah,
But in
so,
cluster, only one storage. That is a shared storage.
mm-hmm.
In cluster, active node and passive node will not be different storages. Only one.
Okay.
Okay. 90%, 99.999% primary replica used to perform OLTP transactions.
So in that case, Giri, my question is, now if I put like banking also read and write,
Yes.
okay, and my banking application and my marketing application is also read and write, and if they are accessing the same table at the moment and same rows, so how it will work?
Same row, same table. It's like a transaction priority is there. Whether
Yeah.
first come, first serve. First come, first serve. You know that, right? So then you need to enable synchronous. If you enable synchronous, whenever the transactions commit on primary, sorry, in secondary, immediately it will commit on secondary. Then only it will give the data back to the application.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not going with synchronous, if you go with asynchronous, then data inconsistency will be, data will not be inaccurate. So always go with the synchronous in
So
banking
what
sector.
if like banking, what if like marketing is updating some column and the
Is
simultaneously banking is updating that column?
no, there is one unique column is there. So for every transaction there is a one UID, unique identifier column will get created in table by default. That one mainly if I teach you during cluster, you will get very clear picture. Very clear picture. If I teach you. In replication also it is there. In replication also, merge replication is the same way. Banking guys are not going to use always on because always on is very costly. Always on you require these many servers. So one server cost is almost lakhs. So that is why they will go with the replication. Replication, there is one merge replication concept is there. In merge replication, whatever the changes is happening on the primary publisher, it will distribute to the secondary. Even in the same second server, whatever the changes happen, it is distributed in the primary. There is one unique identifier column will create on each table. That column will take care of it, which transaction is committed first, which transaction has to commit to the next. Unique identifier, UID. The column name will be UID. By default, it will create when you're configuring replication. But always on is mainly load balancing for backups, for read purpose only. That is why OLTP, OLAP. They said in 2019 they enabled read and write, but I'm not really sure whether they enabled read and write on 2019 because I didn't work on the 2019 latest version. If I work on it, then definitely I can give you the guarantee how it is going on in 2019. I have a meeting in maybe 29th. 29th, I have a meeting with Microsoft people. That time I'll discuss with them about 2019 version. This 29th, maybe I'll not be available to take a class because I have a meeting with Microsoft team. That day I'll discuss with them about 2019 version features. That time I'll give you to you exact figure. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah, I still not clear. Anyway, if you can explain this later on,
Yeah,
I'm
later
okay
on
with that.
better because you know there is a unique identifier it will create. There is there's ACID parameters there in server. ACID parameters means even Oracle also has their own ACID parameters. What is ACID parameters? Atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability.
Yeah,
Is there
I
in
mean that's
Oracle?
basic one. Yeah, but in always on, that's what, because if you are saying like
No, no,
we
no.
will,
1 minute, 1 minute. I don't want to, make you confused. 1 minute. I'll show you one thing here. I want to make you confused. Where I discussed about mirroring architecture. What do you understand about synchronous and asynchronous? Can you tell me, please? If you understand it, you will not ask these many questions. I'm sure. If you understand this thing, mirroring, no, not this one. If you're understanding mirroring, then what do you understand about synchronous and asynchronous?
it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
We
So the
in
changes, what are happening on the
asynchronous,
principle
basically in asynchronous is basically don't wait for the
mirroring.
acknowledgement.
Yes, right. You're
That's
right.
the only big
Yes, right,
difference.
right, right. What about others? Synchronous?
Yeah, in synchronous is always waiting for the, it makes sure the standby get the data flushed first and then it will commit the data on the primary.
Yes,
So it makes
exactly.
sure that the remote has the data.
Yes, correct, exactly. So at 5:10 p.m., you inserted some data into particular table. Inserted table 1. Okay. The same thing you have done it on here. Okay. Same thing
Yeah.
you have done it on here. So only one transaction will come first. It's a first come, first serve. First come, first serve. So for
Yeah,
example,
that's fine. That's fine, Giri. But here we just talking about one server at a time, right?
One server at a time means?
Is when we have multiple node doing the read and write. So for example, if one application is doing, one application is deleting, updating data, and the other application is deleting that data. So how the consistency will be made?
So every transaction has their own unique identifier number. So only first, if you are performing
Okay.
any deletion here, unique identifier will take care of it what you are doing. Until the transaction, you cannot able to do anything on the other server. There is no point in time. That is why performance is coming into the issue here. There is a bottleneck. Do you remember what I said? Performance issue. One is a performance network issue. Other one is if you initiate any one transactions here, other transaction will be on wait. It will goes into the queue. First one transaction it needs to commit, then only another insert in another second server it will come into the picture. Clear?
Yeah, it makes sense here. Yes.
So this even you will get a more clear picture when I'm talking about replication. But one thing I would like to add one point here is called as hard is write also possible in secondary replicas in latest versions, but I cannot give you the exact 100% answer because this weekend 29th I have a meeting with Microsoft team. I'll discuss with them what the architecture of write replicas, and then I'll discuss next Sunday. Okay, next Sunday I'll discuss with you about this. But in older version like 2014,
Okay.
2012, you
So
cannot perform write. You cannot perform write on the secondary replica. Only read or read intent or backups. These are all possible in secondary replica. That is why I call it as. Can you see here one word? Can you see one word here? Can you see here? Oh, just a minute. OLTP, online transaction
backups are
processing.
good actually.
Yeah, backup also. Now I hope you remember one question you asked long ago. How can I balance the backups? Do you remember that question?
Yeah, that answer I got that answer. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. So application will read and write everything from primary server. Secondary server you can configure backups. This is how load balancing the backups. Clear?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
discussed yesterday actually, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So my laptop is only 53 minutes. It will be available. 50% is available. So battery backup. Now let us go on.
Lost
Open the
your
PDF.
voice, Siri.
What is that? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
I
yes.
think Raja can hear me, right? Oh, super. Yeah, I'll mute it. I'll mute it. So yeah, I'm going to mute it.
Giri, are you talking or I can't I can't hear you.
My mobile. Now I think everyone
Hello.
can hear me. Everyone can hear. Rajesh, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So one power problem is creating a lot of disturbances to us. This weekend, I don't know. I don't know whether daily like this, but other batches nobody is getting disturbance. Only we are getting disturbance because other batches either early morning or evening. Our training is in middle of the day. I don't know whether they are disconnecting power like this or not. Guys, if you have any disturbances or echo, we'll stop this meeting for now. We will continue in the next weekend. It's all up to you people.
Yeah, that was better.
What about others? Because time also it's up. Time also it's almost.
what was the option?
It's not an option. It's a decision. So option is like if it is really disturbance, my voice is not clear, then we'll end up the call and we'll connect in the next week.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise,
fine.
otherwise next week also we'll see the same issue happens. I'll go and sit in my office.
Okay,
My office will be having 100% power cable, right?
on 29th, would you be taking class?
I'll keep you posted because I
29th?
already got an email from Microsoft team
Hello?
stating that yeah now
Your
I'm
voice
speaking.
is gone.
Hello, Giri. Your voice. Yeah.
Hey, Giri,
Uh,
come again.
I'm not speaking. Voice is not clear, right? That is why I'm not speaking. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll stop recording so